All right, kindergarten art friends, I hope you're ready to draw a robot. To help me today, I have Tilly, my daughter.
Hi.
Tilly, what grade are you in?
I'm in second this year.
Okay, and who's your teacher?
Miss Geatley.
All right, so Tilly goes to Parker Woods Montessori just like you. So she was in kindergarten just a couple years ago, and now she's in second grade. Tilly, what's your favorite thing about being in second grade so far?
Well, I like seeing all the new first graders just pop in the meetings, and I like meeting new people.
Sounds like fun. We get to meet new people too. So you get to meet Tilly today. So Tilly and I are both going to draw together. So remember, we just learned about shape, or we talked about robots, and we were looking at the shapes and some of the colors that we saw. So Tilly and I are going to each draw a robot together. That way we can give you two different ideas. You can follow along and draw a robot just like ours for practice, and then you could flip your paper over and draw your own idea, or you could get started right now on your own idea and kind of work along with us, but make some of your own artistic decisions. Your robot doesn't have to look just like mine. It doesn't have to look just like Tilly's. It can look just like yours. And so you can get some inspiration and draw some like us. You could draw it just like one of us, or you could do your own thing, all right? But the important thing about your robot is I want you to focus on the different shapes that you use to draw it, and then we'll talk about decorating it in just a minute. All right, are you ready to draw? Okay,
Yeah.
so to draw, you need one of your pieces of white project paper from your art folder, and you need a pencil. That's all that you need right now to get started with us. Okay, so I think you can see my paper and Tilly's paper. Tilly and I are both going to be drawing with a marker, just so you can see our lines really clearly. You should start with a pencil, so just in case you make a mistake, you can erase it. Now, Tilly, what's the most important thing about our shape robot? What should it do?
It should have a rectangular body or some sort of body
Yeah.
that is a shape. And you have to fill the paper and have fun.
Okay, yes. Filling the paper and having fun is the most important part here, and using the shapes to do it. So I want you to think that your robot should be as tall as your paper. And we want a good tall robot, so our paper should be nice and tall in front of us. This is called portrait. We don't want a short, wide, little fat robot. We're going to make a nice tall robot. That way we have lots of space to fill with our lines and colors. So we'll get started, and you can get started maybe with the head or the body. Tilly, what are you going to start with, the head or the body?
I'm going to start with the head.
Okay, Tilly's going to start with the head. Remember, we're working with some shapes. So go ahead and start drawing, Tilly, and we can talk about our shapes as we're going. Okay, we're starting with some shapes. We'll talk about the shapes we're using in just a minute. So Tilly, let's just keep drawing for a little bit, and then we'll tell our friends what we've been working on. So as I'm drawing, if you are wanting to follow along with me, remember that if I start drawing too fast, you can always pause my video and catch up. All right, Tilly, tell me about some of the artistic decisions you've made so far on your robot.
I decided to make a half circle right there.
Okay.
And then two rectangles in it to be like the teeth.
Okay.
Two triangles for the eyes. And I decided to use a pentagon.
Okay. How many sides does that have?
Wait, not a pentagon. I decided to use this shape as my head base. And I'm using a triangle for the body to look kind of to be like a dress.
It looks great so far, but let's let's see if we can remember what the name of that shape is that has 6 sides. You're right, it's like a pentagon. It ends in agon. But what's the first part for one that has 6 sides? Do you remember?
Hex.
That's right. That is a hexagon. Good memory. On mine, I started with a half circle. Remember, I kept seeing that in some of those inspiration photos we looked at. So I wanted mine to have a big round half circle head. I have a square body. And then I used some of these rectangles. They're a little rounded on the corners, and I stacked them. They started big and got smaller and smaller. I decided to make my robot have a wheel. So I have a circle inside a circle inside a circle. Tilly, do you know what that's called when we make a circle inside a circle inside a circle?
Concentrism.
Concentric circles. We'll learn more about concentric circles in the next couple lessons that we have.
I learned about that when I was in your grade, kindergarten.
We learned about a very special artist who loves concentric circles. We'll look at that soon. But I decided to make a circle inside a circle inside a circle. That helps add some more detail to my work. Okay. We're going to keep going, and then we'll pause again and talk about our decisions. I wonder what decisions you're making at home on your robot. Are you practicing a robot like ours? Or have you already started making your own artist decisions? I already see how Tilly is using lines to add some details to her work.
I also wanted to make sure it was shaped, so I did squares and triangles for the wheel lines.
Looking good. All right, Tilly. Let's add a few more shapes for some details to our work. Okay. Oh, I'm already starting to add details too. I can't help it. I'm using some zigzag lines. What are my zigzag lines representing, Bug?
Electricity, like I did up here.
Yeah.
Instead of zigzags, I did lines to be like, make it pop.
Okay. I think my robot's done. Tilly's already giving hers a job to do. Look at all these details she's working on. I want to talk about some of the other shapes that I used on my robot, and then we're going to talk some more about the next step to do. I have some triangles with circles on the end for my antennas or ears. I made some more half circles for my robot's eyes. Then I thought my robot might look a little bit mean with all its teeth here that I made with a rectangle with lines through it. And so I gave it a couple eyelashes so it looked like maybe it was happy and smiling. I don't want my robot to look mean or upset. I made some buttons on the middle part, and I made some nice long arms, and I did that C shape that I liked from Banksy's robot. So I hope that you know how we can look at other people's artwork to get ideas for our own. So Tilly, what are you making in your arms right now?
I'm making squares and rectangles.
Okay.
And I used triangles right here in the big claw. And he's gonna be like, hey, I'm a robot, but I'm not your servant.
You know that your robot reminds me of the robot from the Jetsons. Have you ever watched the Jetsons cartoon that they used to have on when I was a kid?
Yes, I did when we were at our vacation in Chicago last year.
Oh, that's right, we did. So that kind of looks like their robot housekeeper a little bit to me. Okay, so the next step is to look at some of the shapes that we made and to fill them with patterns. And we can do a great job of making patterns when we use lines. So Tilly's already adding some lines to hers. And now it looks like she's making another pattern. Tilly, what pattern are you making at the bottom there?
Heart, circle, heart, circle, heart, circle, heart.
Yeah, so a pattern always repeats. So Tilly just made a pattern out of shapes, making them repeat. Heart, circle, circle. But we know too that we can take different line styles to make patterns as well. So I'm going to do some wiggly, wavy lines for my robot's arms.
I decided I'm going to get him teeth after all.
Nice, that looks good.
I'm gonna go into my big broad marker now so you can see it like I did here better. And just repeat the line.
All right, I did a wavy line pattern. I think I'm going to do a polka dot pattern.
What other patterns could I do?
Do another zigzag pattern.
Ooh, that gives me an idea.
All right, I'll do a straight line stripe pattern.
I'm gonna do a heart inside here, and then a triangle.
So Tilly's also using her marker to do thin lines and thick lines. And those are examples of using lines to create patterns too. So if you wanted to make a thick line with your marker, remember that when you color it in, you can use your marker on the side of the tip to create a thicker line. And then the very top of the tip creates the thin or skinny line. All right, Tilly, think about one or two more patterns you can add, and then we'll tell our friends about the next step.
Okay.
I'm going to do some spirals.
Ooh.
I think I'll add one more rectangle here so I can think of a pattern to put in this one. Be a curly line pattern. All right, Tilly, do you feel like you're at a stopping point?
I guess.
Okay, I think I am too. All right, so Tilly and I took our time to really make some nice, neat robots. Both of our robots came out very differently, but we used the same techniques. We both used shapes to make the outlines of our robots, and then we used patterns to create the details and to fill in the space. My robot really filled in my space really big, and Tilly's using some details around her robot to help fill in the space on her paper.
So like I decided electricity was going crazy.
Cool. So Tilly, tell me, what job does your robot perform?
It's kind of like the Jetsons' cheaper one.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, it usually works with water, like the dishwasher. As you see, it has webbed hands.
Oh, hey, that's a smart detail.
But I use those webs as triangles.
It looks like you even named your robot too. What's your robot's name?
TL for Tilly Lewis 22.
The TL22 at your service. I haven't given mine a name yet, and I haven't thought about what job it does, but it does look like a very happy helper robot. You can think about what job your robot might do, and you can tell me about it when you submit your work. So the next thing we would do is we would get out our crayons or our markers to color it in our nicest, neatest. How are we going to color something in our nicest, neatest, Tilly? What do we need to do?
Stay in the line. Take our time and stay in the line.
Those are two really important hints to remember to really do your nicest, neatest. So I can't wait to see your robot. I hope that you choose to use lots of bright, crazy colors as you color in your robot, and that you have a lot of fun making your robot too. So remember, you could, if you followed along with us, you could choose just to start coloring if you really like your artwork. Or if you have some own ideas that you're ready to explore, flip your paper over and draw another one on the back. To complete your drawn robot, you will need to color it in and have filled it with some patterns and some of the shapes that you made, but not all of them. You still see some empty shapes in mine that I'm just going to add color to. Tomorrow we'll talk about making a robot in a different medium because we're going to make two this week. Tilly, thank you so much for coming and drawing with us and for coming and drawing with my kindergartners today.
It was my pleasure. I loved it.
Awesome. Well, I'll see you tomorrow for the next part of our robot project. Bye.